You know, I used to think creativity was about adding more. More words, more ideas, more caffeine. But the older I got, and by older I mean 14, I realized something strange. The delete button on my keyboard, yes, that tiny little key at the corner of the keyboard that we barely ever use, is actually more important than the letters themselves. Because that tiny key, that's where the magic actually begins. And if you give me just the next 10 minutes of your time, I want to show you why that single button, the one we use to fix typos and bad decisions, might actually be the most powerful tool for creativity that we have. Now, this isn't a talk about writing, or art, or even technology for that matter. It's about a mindset. About how sometimes the best way to create something truly meaningful is to start by taking something away. Let me tell you a little story. Just back in 8th grade, my classmates and I were assigned a passion project. Everyone was doing something incredible. Students were coding apps, making arts, some were even saving the environment. And I thought, okay, I'll just write a psychological thriller about fate, friendship, and murder. You know, light stuff, especially for a teenager. So I started writing what would actually become my book. The first draft was terrible, to say the least. There were literally entire paragraphs where characters cried for 3 pages straight. And at one point, I think a boat had more personality than the actual protagonist. But I kept writing. Because that's what creative people are supposed to do, right? Just keep adding. Except the story wasn't getting any better. It was getting heavier, messier. Until one night, I did something that felt like creative hierarchy. I selected 24 pages and hit delete. And it hurt. It was like deleting a part of my soul. But then I soon realized what I had removed wasn't the story. It was actually the clutter around it. And the more I began to delete, the clearer everything became. That's when I realized something that I want to share with you today. Creation isn't about adding. It's about knowing what to remove. There's this quote by Michelangelo. When someone asked him how he sculpted David, he said, I just removed everything that wasn't David. He didn't say, I added bits and bits of marble until it looked like David. No, instead, he deleted his way to greatness. And you see this happen almost everywhere. When Steve Jobs came back to Apple in 1997, the company was drowning in 350 different products. And what did he do? He scrapped 70% of them. And what came next? The MacBook, the iPod, the iPhone. He deleted his way to innovation. Even the science genius Albert Einstein once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough to actually explain it. This quote has stuck with me ever since I'd heard it. Because his genius wasn't in adding complexity. It was in deleting it. It's truly incredible how he took the chaos of the universe and boiled it down to one single formula. E equals mc square. He didn't add ideas. Instead, he simplified them. Now, I'm not Michelangelo or Steve Jobs. I don't even have a driver's license. But I did find the same delete to create pattern hidden in my very own writing. You see, my early drafts tried too hard. Every sentence screamed for attention. But once I deleted the noise, characters began to speak for themselves. Their silence, their hesitation, their unfinished thoughts, that's where the emotions actually lived. And maybe that's what true creativity really is. Not inventing new emotions, but simply uncovering the ones already there. Now, even in design, there's this rule called the subtract principle. A 2021 study from the University of Virginia found that when people are asked to improve something, their first instinct is to add. But the solutions that actually worked, the simplest and smartest ones, usually come from the act of removing. But why? We as humans are trained to think more equals better. More followers on our Instagram, more achievements on our resume, more tabs open on our Google Chrome. But sometimes the smartest and the most sensible move is to close a few. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you cleaned your phone's storage? That feeling when you delete 2,000 blurry photos of your ceiling fan, suddenly you feel lighter, wiser, like a monk with a better camera roll. Or when you clean your room after 6 months and suddenly start believing in productivity again. You're not creating a new space, you're just making space. And I started seeing this idea almost everywhere. When we were working on our climate awareness project, we had over 1,000 different ideas. Eco-friendly air fresheners, posters, bake sales, we were almost unstoppable. Until we soon realized that we weren't really saving the planet. We were just giving it a PowerPoint presentation. So we deleted every single element that didn't matter and focused on one core idea: teaching children directly. And that truly makes a difference. Even in our day-to-day lives, we hold on to too much. We think success comes from adding, but maybe real success is subtraction. Deleting the pressure to be perfect. Deleting the habit of comparing yourself to someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. or the topper of your class while you're stuck at your desk unwilling to open a book. And yes, deleting that one group chat where everyone says, let's meet soon, but hasn't met since COVID-19. Now, I told my friend that my TED talk was about deleting. He looked at me dead in the eye and said, so if you forget your lines halfway, is that like live performance art? And honestly, he's right. If I mess up today, just know I forgot because I deleted my thoughts. But all jokes aside, here's the truth. The more I deleted, whether it was in my book, my projects, or my life, the more I found clarity. Because sometimes less isn't empty. It's simply essential. A great song isn't great because of more and more lyrics. It's great because of the pauses. A powerful speech doesn't come from endless words. It comes from the silence in between. And similarly, the delete button doesn't destroy your work. It reveals it. So the next time you're stuck, whether art, your essay, or that messy draft of your life, don't ask, what can I add? Instead, ask, what can I delete? Because the key to creating something truly meaningful isn't piling more and more on. It's cutting the extra stuff out. And if you take away one thing from this story, and please don't delete it, let it be this. The most creative act isn't creation itself. It's courage. The courage to hit backspace. The courage to erase what doesn't belong. And the courage to say, yeah, maybe that plot twist about the talking goat doesn't need to stay. So go ahead. Delete that extra line, that unnecessary tab, those long words from your personal essay that you don't even know how to pronounce. Because the masterpiece isn't what you add, it's what you dare to delete. And if anyone asks why your story feels so good, just wink and say, I'm a deleteaholic and I'm proud of it. Thank you.